The Senate will come to order. The senators will take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privileges of the floor will retire to the gallery. Good morning, senators. Good morning. Good morning, guests. Good morning. The senators and those in attendance, if you are able, please rise. We will be led in prayer this morning by the Reverend Gabe Turner of the Point Church in Charlottesville. Following the prayer, everyone will please remain standing, and we will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America by our Senate page, Ayanna Brimley of Newport News.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you today, first of all, giving you thanks and praise for who you are and for your goodness and mercy in our lives. We give you thanks for our great state of Virginia, for how you have blessed us as a state in so many ways. And we obey the words of 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses 1 through 2, where the Apostle Paul wrote, "First of all, then, I urge that supplications, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgivings be made for all people, for kings and all who are in high positions, that we may lead a peaceful and quiet life, godly and dignified in every way." We thank you for our government leaders, for our senators, for these men and women who serve our state selflessly and sacrificially. We pray your heavenly wisdom over their hearts and minds. We pray a hedge of protection over each of them, their relationships, their marriages, and their families. And we pray that you would accomplish your kingdom purposes in and through this calling on their lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk will call the roll. All those present, please vote aye. The clerk will close the roll.
You have a quorum, Madam President. Senate Journal for Monday, February 5th, 2024.
The senator from Eastern Fairfax County, Senator Surreville, moves that the reading of the journal be waived. Those in favor of waiving the reading of the journal will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, noes 2.
Ayes 37, noes 2. The reading of the journal is waived. The clerk will report any communication from the House of Delegates. Chair recognizes the senator from Eastern Fairfax County, Senator Surreville.
Good afternoon, Madam President.
Good afternoon.
I move to waive reading of the communication from the House of Delegates.
The question is, shall the reading of the communication from the House be waived? Those in favor of waiving the reading of the communication from the House of Delegates will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, noes 2.
Ayes 37, noes 2. The reading of the communication from the House is waived. The clerk will report any communications from the governor.
I do not have any, Madam President.
We have arrived at our morning hour, and this is where we will hear who all of you are in the gallery. And the procedure is, the senator will rise and tell us who you are. Please rise at that time and hold your applause until after I greet you, and then we will all share in the applause to you. And with that, I do now recognize the senator from Tazewell, Senator Hackworth.
Thank you, Madam President. And today we heard from Pastor Gabe Turner. And we thank him for being here today and giving his words of wisdom and prayer to myself and my fellow senators. Pastor Gabe gave his life to Christ at the age of 15 and has been ministering ever since. Pastor Gabe is the husband to Carrie and the father to Cana, Miriam, Ella, and Gabriel. He and his wife both graduated from seminary school at Liberty University. Following graduation in 2009, he and his wife started the Point Church in Charlottesville. Pastor Gabe has been a pillar in his community by being an educator, a football coach, and now senior pastor. I ask that you give him the warm welcome of the Senate.
Welcome again, Pastor, and thank you so very much for your prayer. Thank you for coming and the sacrifices that you no doubt are making and will continue to make. Senators, let us give him the warm welcome of his Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Williams-Graves, the senator from Norfolk.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Today in the gallery, we have the Norfolk State University College chapter of the NAACP, and I would ask that they rise. They are a passionate group of students dedicated to advocating for positive change in our community. The chapter is focused on addressing issues such as health disparities, education, community service, economic stability, financial literacy, and political action. Their efforts follow the NAACP's mission to achieve equity, political rights, and social inclusion by advancing policies that expand human and civil rights, eliminate discrimination, and accelerate the well-being, education, and economic security of people of all races. They strive for a more just and inclusive society. Madam President, I had the privilege of spending time with these young people today, and their majors are so incredibly vast that the work they will do once they graduate will touch and impact every corner, not only of the Commonwealth, but of the world. Their presence should give everyone in this body hope that our future is secure and in very good hands. Madam President and members of the Senate, please join me in giving a warm Senate welcome to these amazing, gifted, and talented young people.
Thank you for coming. And indeed, as the senator has said, you have a vast array of majors. And I'm thinking about the major of life. We have to pass that one. And I think one of the best ways is to help others, even as you move along. So thank you for your activism, what you're doing. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Obenshain, the senator from Rockingham.
Madam President, I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, do you know what today is?
No, sir.
It is JMU. JMU Day in the Capitol. And joining us in the gallery are a number of members of the Student Government Association at JMU. They are visiting the Capitol, meeting with their legislators, advocating for their priorities as members of the SGA. The committee is chaired by Senior Marcus Rand. I would ask you to join me or to extend the warm welcome to the Senate, but I also want to point out that JMU is having a reception at the Library of Virginia at 6 o'clock this evening, and I know that they would love to see everybody there. So, Madam President, I hope that you would extend the warm welcome of the Senate to this group from the SGA at JMU.
I thank the senator, and they're not here, so we will recognize them in absence Abstention, yes, they had to
We
leave.
got to do that all again.
No, sir. But we congratulate them on their feats on the athletic field as well as in their scholastic endeavors and all that they add to our great fabric in Virginia. And so with that, and we understand food will be involved, so we shall be there. So we thank them. Chair recognizes Senator Marsden, the senior senator from Fairfax.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Today, we welcome the Virginia Asphalt Association and its member representatives. The VAA is a nonprofit trade organization founded in 1952 and dedicated to promoting the use of quality asphalt pavements in Virginia. The association has 130 member companies and thousands of employees acting as a driving force in state and local economies. Their operations involve advocacy for industry interests, providing education and training programs, fostering stakeholder collaboration, and supporting research and development in asphalt-related technology. The association plays a crucial role in shaping, advancing, and ensuring the sustainability of the asphalt industry in this state. Through its educational and training programs, the Virginia Asphalt Association is paving the way for the professional development of individuals within the asphalt sector. This has helped improve the skills and knowledge of workers involved in asphalt-related activities. Furthermore, the association's commitment to research and development and partnership with state and local governments has facilitated the adoption of innovative technologies and best practices within Virginia's asphalt industry. By promoting sustainability and quality standards, the Virginia Asphalt Association has contributed to the overall improvement of asphalt pavements, making them more durable and environmentally friendly. Thanks to these new technologies and a commitment to solving problems, the industry is a leader in recycling, with rubber tires, plastic bottles, and other materials integrated into their recycled asphalt. Madam President, this spoon could end up in a highway near you. If any member of the Senate would like to drive a steamroller, except for you, Senator Stanley, these fine folks can have you behind the wheel with only 8 weeks of training. I encourage each of you to spend some time with VAA's members and learn what the asphalt industry is doing to promote recycling, sustainability, quality, and environmental conservation in our state. And with that, Madam President, I ask that you give them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Yes, and thank you for coming to see your Senate with 130 members and thousands of employees. Thank you for the jobs that you provide. And when I hear that you are engaging in best practices, it tells us that you've examined all that there is to know, currently anyway, and you've decided what's best. And for us, that's a good thing because, as you know, we all need good roads to drive on, et cetera, et cetera. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator DeSteff, the senior senator from Virginia Beach.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, on behalf of myself, the junior senator from Virginia Beach, and the senator from Richmond, who all have Virginia Beach Public Schools in their district, I rise to introduce the City of Virginia Beach Public Schools Optimist Club. I'm pleased to have these young high school seniors from the 11 Virginia Beach high schools, one young man, one young woman from each of our Fair Cities senior classes. They've been chosen by their counselors as outstanding seniors of the class of 2024 by reason of their demonstration of excellence in the 5 following attributes: character, community service, extracurricular activity, citizenship, scholarship, or scholastic achievement. These young men and women who will be our future leaders are sponsored by the Optimist Club of Virginia Beach. Today, here with them on Capitol grounds, taking guided tours of the Capitol, Supreme Court of Virginia, and visiting with their senators and delegates. They're looking forward to observing the Senate and the House sessions today. They're joined by Laura Hughes and Mr. Cox, I believe, back there. I'm not sure. But we'd like to Please notice them in the gallery and give them our warmest welcome. Thank you.
Good afternoon to you. And young people, we have heard that you were chosen as leaders, and you're learning about communications, extracurricular activities, your citizenship, you were chosen, your scholastic achievements. But I think of all of them, character is where you'll find your greatest achievement. Without character, none of the rest matters. So thank you for developing that part of you. And we're so glad you're our future. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Boysko, the senator from northwestern Fairfax County.
Good afternoon, Madam President. I have two introductions.
Good afternoon, Senator. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. In the gallery, we have advocates from the Arc of Northern Virginia with us today. They came down on a full bus to advocate for a better Virginia for people with developmental disabilities. They're working for a Virginia where there is no wait for a DD waiver, where people can work without risking losing their support services, and there are ample services provided to meet the needs of our community that wants a life like yours. We're so glad to have them here today and to enjoy their stories. The Arc of Northern Virginia represents more than 39,000 individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, with direct service programs, education, and advocacy. For more than 6 decades, the Arc of Northern Virginia has recognized the continuity of needs across the lifespan of people with ID and DD and the changing supports needed by the families who support them. The Arc of Northern Virginia believes that people with ID and DD, such as autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, epilepsy, and a number of rare chromosomal disorders, are a vital part of the community and have a fundamental moral, civil, and constitutional right to be fully included and actively participate in all aspects of our society. And I ask that you give them a very warm Senate welcome.
Good afternoon to you. Thank you for doing what you do. You know, the mark of a great country, I think, is how it treats the least of these. But it was not country-driven, it is citizen-driven. And you're there volunteering to help those who are not able. Thank you very much. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Boysko.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also have a group of Virginia's most passionate advocates who have joined us from northern Fairfax County to witness the legislative process and to champion their cause. This is the Citizen Advocates Against a Northern Fairfax County Casino. And their dedication to the civic engagement and community involvement embodies the very essence of our democratic values. And they represent many different groups, but all with a shared common purpose. So we have in the gallery from Virginia Democracy Forward, Greg Brandon. Representing the McLean Citizens Association, we are joined by President Linda Walsh and residents Barbara Katz, Quang Nguyen, and Kathy Lewis. And from Vienna, we have David Chan and Melanie Dunn. Jennifer Falcone is here representing the Great Falls Citizens Association with Elaine Soriano and Christopher Belvedere, each making significant contributions to their community through active engagement and advocacy. Representing Tysons, we have Layla Taramurian, a devoted educator and mother, Paula Martino and Jim Battle, all active participants in the civic life of Tysons. And from the Reston Citizens Association, President Lynn Molston is here, along with our youngest advocate, Owen Pinkman. He's a 6th grade student demonstrating to us that our future is bright with young advocates like him. Let us all give all of our dedicated citizens who took the time out to be here today to express their concerns a heartfelt round of applause for their unwavering commitment to our state. Their presence is a testimony to the vibrant spirit of civic participation that thrives in the Commonwealth, and I ask that you give them a warm Senate welcome.
Good afternoon to you. Thank you for coming, and thank you for letting your views be known. And thank you, Mr. 6th grader, for coming you get to see how things are really done and what happens when you give a voice to, well, your issues, and that everybody needs to have that voice, no matter how young. Thank you. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Locke, the senator from Hampton.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for 3 introductions.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Joining us in the gallery today is members of the Virginia State Conference of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Founded in 1935, the Virginia State Conference of NAACP branches is the oldest and largest nonpartisan civil rights organization in the Commonwealth, overseeing over 100 NAACP branches, youth councils, and college chapters. The Virginia NAACP is focused on being the preeminent voice of Black Virginians and advocating for policies and programs to benefit Blacks and people of color. Nationally, the NAACP advocates, agitates, and litigates for civil rights due to Black America. During the past year and during the session, the Virginia NAACP is heavily focused on advocating for the restoration of voting rights, defending voter access, criminal justice reform, especially youth criminal justice reform, expanding equity in health care and education, and making communities safer. Please join me in welcoming members of the Virginia State Conference of the NAACP.
Good afternoon to you. Thank you for coming. You know, there are times I've heard the senator say, you're a nonpartisan organization, and you can fight alone or you can fight together. And I think sometimes together is better. Thank you for what you do. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Locke.
Thank you, Madam President. In the gallery today, we have representatives from the Boys and Girls Club from across Virginia for their annual visit to the Capitol. Many of us are familiar with the incredible impact that the Boys and Girls Clubs have on our youth and families, and we are grateful for the outstanding services they provide to the youth and families. In Virginia, the Boys and Girls Clubs provide services to over 20,700 school-age youth in 44 cities and 11 military installations in Virginia. Boys and Girls Clubs inspire all young people to realize their full potential as productive, responsible, and caring citizens. The Boys and Girls Clubs are a safe place for our youth and provide strong, proven programs emphasizing character and leadership, education and career advancement, and health and life skills. Through the years, the Boys and Girls Clubs have encouraged young people to aspire to the highest level of personal development and to become good citizens who are involved in their communities. Please join me in welcoming representatives of the Boys and Girls Club.
Well, thank you, young people, for coming. And I can tell you that the Boys and Girls Clubs were certainly essential for my children so that I could go to work when I needed child care. And they did a fabulous job. I knew that they were safe, and I know that you're safe. And we're so glad for the Boys and Girls Club organization. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Again, Senator Locke.
Thank you, Madam President. And finally, in the gallery today, we have members of the Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy. In 2019, the Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy launched the Push Maternal Health campaign to help achieve the goal of eliminating racial disparities in maternal mortality that was set that year by the Northam administration. Over the past 4 years, the campaign has evolved into a coalition of over 20 organizations that are committed to advocating for equity in maternal health. Some of the Push Coalition organizations that are working together to bring us one step closer to reducing racial disparities in maternal mortality in Virginia include Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy, Birth in Color, Urban Baby Beginnings, Voices for Virginia's Children, the Commonwealth Institute, National Women's Political Caucus, League of Women Voters Virginia, March of Dimes, and New Virginia Majority. Please join me in welcoming members of the Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy and former Health Equity Manager Dora Muhammad.
Good afternoon to you. So many organizations. So many things that you do to make our lives better. Thank you. Certainly it's a sacrifice that you're making to do all that. Thank you for being a voice for us, for all peoples. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Hashmi, the senator from Chesterfield.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. So today we are also joined in the gallery by students from Bright Point Community College. For more than 56 years, Bright Point has served 10 localities in the Central Virginia and Tri-City regions. And today our Bright Point students are visiting the state capitol with their new president, and congratulations to the new president, Dr. Bill Figge. They've been meeting with our legislators and sharing their personal stories about their Bright Point experience, and they're also discussing the critical need and importance of our community colleges and sharing their future plans and aspirations. Madam President, I ask that we extend the warm welcome of the Senate to Bright Point Community College.
Well, congratulations, Dr. Figge, and thank you, students, for coming and letting us know your views and helping to remind us how important the community colleges are to us, indeed, to our workforce, because you are responsible for also training and retraining. So thank you very much. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Diggs, the senator from York.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to request a leave of absence for my desk mate, the senator from Goochland, on account of pressing personal business.
The Journal will so note, Senator. Chair recognizes Senator Surreville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an announcement.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I just want to let you know that we have a process when it comes to electing new judges. We have a second judicial election, which I think under the procedure resolution, I think is scheduled for March the 6th. And I would like to get it done March the 6th. And in speaking with the chairman of the court's chairman of the other body, we've decided that we're going to try to get the judges certified on March the 1st. So if you have a new judge, there's about 24 judges that are in play, plus one on the Court of Appeals that need to be certified. You need to have whatever local process or discussions or debates or whatever it is you do in your local delegation done by March the 1st. I just want to make sure everybody knew that so you can plan. So you have 23 shopping days left, Madam President, for your new judges. Thank you.
Is there any other business to come for the morning hour? Hearing none, the clerk will call the calendar.
Senate calendar for Tuesday, February 6th, 2024. Uncontested calendar. Senate bills on third reading.
Chair recognizes Senator Surreville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Madam President, I move that all the Senate bills on the third reading uncontested calendar on pages 1 through 8, Senate bills 487 to 726, be placed on their final passage in the block. Any senator desiring to move a bill from the block shall do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill.
The question is, shall the Senate bills on the uncontested calendar, third reading, pages 1 through 8, Senate bills 487 through 726, be placed upon their final passage in the block with the understanding that any senator desiring a bill to be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bills. Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are before us in the block. The clerk will read the number of the bills.
Senate Bill 487, Senate Bill 20, Senate Bill 199, Senate Bill 213, Senate Bill 264, Senate Bill 277, Senate Bill 331, Senate Bill 379, Senate Bill 403, Senate Bill 437, Senate Bill 498, Senate Bill 538, Senate Bill 553, Senate Bill 554, Senate Bill 560, Senate Bill 610, Senate Bill 624, Senate Bill 704, Senate Bill 726.
The question is, shall the bills in the block pass? All in favor of passage of the bills will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The bills in the block pass.
Regular calendar, Senate bills on third reading. Senate Bill 517, a bill relating to tax exemptions, Confederacy organizations, and we have one floor amendment.
Chair recognizes the senator from Norfolk, Senator Williams Graves.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I rise for a few motions.
All right, Senator, starting with?
The motion to reconsider the vote by which the bill was ordered to be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the vote by which the bill was ordered to be engrossed and advanced to its third reading be reconsidered? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The vote is reconsidered. Senator Williams Graves.
Thank you, Madam President. Second motion is to waive the reading of the floor amendment.
The question is, shall the reading of the floor amendment be waived? Those in favor of waiving the reading will say aye. Those opposed, no. The reading of the floor amendment is waived. Senator Williams Graves.
Thank you, Madam President. The next motion is a motion to agree to the floor amendments and speaking to that amendment.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. The amendment before you strikes line 233 and inserts the Robert E. Lee Memorial Foundation Incorporated. And I move to pass the floor amendment.
The question is, shall the floor amendment be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The floor amendment is agreed to. Senator Williams Graves.
Fifth motion, Madam President, is to suspend the rules and dispense with the third constitutional reading.
You're engrossing.
I'm sorry. I'm reading what they gave me,
That's
Madam President.
Senator, you're doing fine.
The motion is to suspend the rules and dispense with the third.
You're engrossing it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right. Engrossing and advancing to its third reading.
You're doing well.
Thank you. Sorry. They gave me the right thing.
The question is, shall the bill now be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Okay,
Senator Williams Graves.
Thank you. Now, Madam President, I move that we suspend the rules and dispense with the third constitutional reading.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the third constitutional reading of the bill be dispensed with? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? All the senators voted. Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The rules are suspended and the third constitutional reading is dispensed with. Again, Senator Williams Graves.
Thank you, Madam President. For the last time, I move that the bill pass, and I would like to speak to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This bill would eliminate the recordation tax exemption for the Virginia Division of the United Daughters of the Confederacy, along with some other organizations. The bill would also eliminate tax-exempt designations for real and personal property owned by the Virginia Division of the United Daughters of the Confederacy and the general organizations of the United Daughters of the Confederacy, as well as other organizations. Under the current law, the state recordation tax does not apply to any deed conveying real tax or the lease of real estate to such said organizations. Real and personal property owned by such said organizations are also currently exempt from taxation. If enacted during the regular session of the 2024 General Assembly, this bill would become effective July 1, 2024. I move that the bill pass.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 23, no 16.
Ayes 23, no 16. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 238, a bill relating to health insurance coverage for contraceptive drugs and devices.
Chair recognizes the senator from Chesterfield, Senator Hashmi.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that SB 238 pass, and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. SB 238 addresses cost barriers to contraceptive access and equity, and it does so by eliminating burdensome copays, cost-sharing, reimbursement requirements, and coverage delays. The bill requires that healthcare plans that do offer coverage for prescription contraceptive drugs, devices, as well as therapeutic equivalents and over-the-counter medications, that they do so without cost sharing. This is not a new requirement, so it will not raise insurance costs significantly. It simply enshrines the popular elements of the existing federal law into the Virginia Code. This legislation has reached good agreement and support from the Virginia Association of Health Plans, and we have also been speaking quite frequently with the SEC, the Bureau of Insurance, and the bill is in a good posture with those individuals as well, those organizations. Just want to clarify a couple of things. I've received some questions regarding what exactly falls under the category of contraceptive care. Specific questions have been asked about Plan B, or the morning after pill. That is covered because that is contraception. The Plan B medication prevents ovulation, and so that is contraceptive care. There is no fertilization that occurs, and therefore it falls under the FDA guidelines for contraceptive care. What is not covered, and I've spoken to individuals to clarify this, are abortive medications. So medications that are taken for abortive needs, those are not classified by the FDA as contraception, and so those are not included. And Madam President, I move again that we pass this bill.
Madam President.
For what purpose does the senator from Rockingham rise?
Just ask the senator from Chesterfield a question.
Will the senator rise and yield? The senator from Chesterfield.
Yes, Madam President.
Senator yields. Senator Obenchain has the floor.
Madam President, I appreciate the explanation and the reference to Plan B. There's another drug, mifepristone, also referred to as Mifeprex, which I understand can be used as a contraceptive, but it also is approved by the FDA for medical termination of pregnancy up to 70 days after gestation. Is that included in this?
Senator from Chesterfield has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I think this is a point of disagreement. The folks that I have spoken to classify mifepristone as an abortive medication, not as contraception. It is medication that is taken once the egg has been fertilized, and so that falls under a different category. That is my understanding. That's the best to my understanding, that it's abortive medication, not classified as contraceptive care, and therefore not included as an FDA contraceptive product.
I thank the senator.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. For what purpose does the senator? Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 24, noes 15.
Ayes 24, noes 15. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 2, a bill relating to purchase, possession, sale, transfer, etc. of assault firearms and certain ammunition feeding devices prohibited, penalty.
Chair recognizes Senator Deeds, the senator from Charlottesville.
Madam President, at the request of a member, I'd ask for that bill to go by one day.
Without objection, Senate Bill 2 goes by for the day.
Senate Bill 377, a bill relating to campaign finance, prohibited personal use of campaign funds, complaints, hearings, civil penalty, and advisory opinions.
Chair recognizes Senator Boysko, the senator from northwestern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the bill's passage and speak into the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. You are aware, many of us in this room, that when the Pew Research Center polling did some asking the public how they feel about elected officials, we're at an all-time low in trust. We need to be able to assure our constituents that elected officials are running to serve them and not to enrich our own pockets. So SB 377 is a bill that will do just that. You know, in the headlines in Washington, D.C., that a man named George Santos, who is a former congressman from New York, was found having committed federal crimes, and he was expelled from Congress. The scary thing for me is that most of the things that he did would have been legal in Virginia under our current allowances for using our campaign funds. So he used tens of thousands of dollars of his campaign money for personal expenses, including luxury goods, Atlantic City casinos, rent payments for housing that were not campaign related, and money on a website primarily known for explicit sexual conduct. He spent money on spa days, vacations, items in luxury retailers. And that is not what people give us money. When we call and ask for help for our campaigns, people want to know that we are either going to use our money to get our messages out to our community members, or we're going to help somebody else, or use it in the implementation of our duties as senators and or delegates. And so my bill puts reasonable spending limits on how a candidate or an elected official can use funds that are entrusted to us by our donor. This bill has, we've been carrying this for many years. There's never been a better time for us to lead by example, and I move the bill passage.
Chair recognizes Senator Peake, the senator from Lynchburg.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to speak on the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I really had not intended to speak on this, and I support the bill, but I just want to disregard any reference whatsoever to George Santos and any member of the Virginia General Assembly. George Santos is a complete and total fraud who was rightfully dismissed from Congress. He was a fraud known before the election. The papers ran it, and they still elected him, and he continued to be a fraud. I am not aware of any member of the Virginia General Assembly, House or Senate, who has conducted themselves in any manner whatsoever in comparison to George Santos, or really in a fraudulent manner. I believe that the members of the Virginia General Assembly have been the most honorable and respectful people that I have seen, certainly as you look at politics nationally. And we report our expenses every quarter and right before every election. Everybody can go on to VPAP and see our expenditures and see exactly what we've spent it on. And if there was something questionable, you can believe that the press and the media would cover it. Now, I think this is a good bill. We should not spend any of our campaign funds on personal expenses or for personal use. I do not think it has been a problem in the Commonwealth. I will vote for this bill, but no one that I am aware of in the Virginia General Assembly has indicated or shown any of those problems that we have seen from other individuals not related to Virginia on a national level.
Madam President, just to
the senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to clarify, I stand in agreement with my colleague. In no way was I suggesting that anyone in this body or down the hall would have behaved that way. I'm just talking about public perception, you included, Madam. Just public perception from the general public do not have a good feeling about politics, and I think that this is a perfect time for us to stand in solidarity to say, not here in Virginia, not now, not any way. And so I hope that everybody will vote unanimously on this good bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 35, noes 4.
Ayes 35, noes 4. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 456, a bill relating to Office of the Department of Correction Ombudsman, created.
Chair recognizes Senator Marsden, the senior senator from Fairfax.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the bill pass. And speaking to that measure,
the senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This bill came through this body last year unanimously and through the House of Delegates, and was sort of kind of killed in House appropriations, but recreated in the budget. So it exists. The Ombudsman's office exists, and it's been partially funded. And so we are going back and putting the bill in that should have gone with it to begin with. But what it's given us a time to do is to listen a little more carefully to the Department of Corrections and deal with some of the issues that they had around confidentiality and photographs being taken inside the facility, dealing with some clarification on grievances with the when that process should start. And also dealing with a provision that was controversial with them in providing computer access to inmates. And so what the bill does, and we've amended it in the Senate Finance and Appropriations Committee, is we have made some changes in terms of the Inspector General's office will actually appoint the ombudsman, and there will also be a circumstance where they're working with a less prescriptive bill is what we have put in place, so that we didn't mandate all of the different visits that the ombudsman would have to make, but to provide some of that, but to give them more flexibility to do their job. And to reduce the costs here, I've been working with the Department of Corrections. They have 29 investigative positions in the Department of Corrections. They've just closed 4 facilities, and the Inspector General's office will relieve them of a number of investigative duties. And I think it will all be worked out in a memorandum of understanding between the Department of Corrections investigative procedures and those of the Office of the Inspector General. And that will lay the framework for how they will operate, but I'm hoping that we will be able to transfer some positions over from the Department of Corrections to the Office of the Inspector General and make this a very important bill a reality here in the Commonwealth, to provide oversight to the people, both the staff and the inmates who are in the most vulnerable positions of any of our constituents here in the Commonwealth. They need protection, and we eliminated the Board of Corrections years ago, which created some oversight, and so this recreates that, and this is something that we have said is a good bill. I think we've improved it, and I reiterate my motion that the bill pass.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, noes 2.
Ayes 37, noes 2. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 57, a bill relating to carrying a concealed handgun onto the premises of any restaurant penalty.
Chair recognizes Senator Salim, the senator from Central Fairfax County.
Madam President, I move the bill pass. And speaking to the bill.
The senator may continue.
Madam President, Senate Bill 57 makes it a Class 2 misdemeanor for any person except for active and qualified retired law enforcement officers to carry a concealed handgun onto the premises of any restaurants or club for which a license to sell and serve alcoholic beverages for on-premises consumption has been granted by the Virginia Alcohol Beverage Control Authority. Under the current law, a concealed handgun permit holder may carry a concealed handgun onto the premises of any restaurant or club that sells alcoholic beverages, but is guilty of a Class 2 misdemeanor if consumption of alcohol takes place. The bill does not take away a gun owner's ability to open carry their firearms in a restaurant, assuming the restaurant permits. Private property owners have a right to prohibit guns on their property. However, if patrons are permitted to carry concealed, property owners will not know someone is carrying and will not know to inform them that the gun is not permitted. Under the current law, concealed carry weapon holders who carry into a restaurant cannot consume alcohol. I ask that this body pass this bill.
Chair recognizes Senator Jordan, the senator from Isle of Wight.
Thank you, Madam President. Will the patron yield for a question?
Will Senator Salim yield?
I yield for a question, Madam President.
Senator yields. Senator Jordan has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I would ask the patron on line 31 of his bill, can he define, because I've never seen it anywhere else in the code, what an event sponsor would constitute according to his bill?
Senator Salim has the floor.
Madam President, thank you. I don't have the specific definition of it, but an event sponsor would be essentially when you hold an event, you do have to get an ABC license if you're serving. Under this rule, I believe that's what this is referring to.
Senator Jordan.
Follow-up question, Madam President.
Will the senator yield for a follow-up question?
Yes, Madam President.
Senator Salim yields. Senator Jordan has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I would also ask the patron, so a space that has a restaurant license could be anywhere that serves alcohol, including our universities that prepare food, special event venues that hold a restaurant license. And according to the bill, I believe on line 21 through 30, it says very specifically only retired or certified law enforcement officers may carry. So would the senator agree that if a nightclub chose to hire a private security company, his bill would now ban that?
Senator Salim has the floor.
Madam President, that would be the case. And however, it is my understanding sometimes private nightclubs may hire security that is outside of the club.
Madam President, speaking of the bill.
Senator has the floor. Senator Jordan.
Thank you, Madam President. While I'm certain that the patron had great intention with what his bill did, I do believe if we look at this bill, it opens up a bit of a Pandora's box for any restaurant or nightclub who would like to hire private security, according to his bill, owner, event sponsor, or its employees, and does not allow for contractors. Second to that, I also feel like this might encumber our universities that have restaurant licenses and serve alcohol. And so for that, I will be voting against the bill. Thank you, Madam President.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 20, noes 18.
Ayes 20, noes 18. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 225, a bill relating to school board policies, parental notification, safe storage of firearms in the household.
Chair recognizes Senator Pekarsky, the senator from Western Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the bill pass and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you. Members of the Senate, SB 225 is a bill that would require local school boards to develop and implement a policy for an annual parental notification regarding the importance of safely storing firearms in the home, state laws and regulations relating to safe firearm storage, and information on the role of firearms in suicide, including youth suicide, and tips and resources for seeking help for a child that may pose a risk to themselves or others. Unsecured firearms are a problem that is pervasive in American households. Research shows that 4.6 million children in the U.S. live with loaded and unlocked firearms in their homes. The firearm suicide rate among children and teens has increased by 66% over the past decade. Additionally, 76% of school shooters acquired their firearm from the home of a parent or close relative. Unsecured firearms present a grave threat to both children and those around them. This bill is not meant to restrict or prevent a family's ability to defend themselves through lawful gun ownership. It simply empowers parents with the knowledge they need to safely secure firearms in the home and encourage safety conversations with their children. And in fact, some school divisions like Roanoke are already sending these annual notifications. In conclusion, a responsible gun ownership means safely securing your firearms to keep them out of the hands of children. And I believe that simply providing this information to parents, sparking a conversation and awareness, we can ensure the necessary steps are taken to protect our children from accidental or intentional death due to unsecured firearms, and I hope it is the will of this body to support SB 225.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 23, noes 16.
Ayes 23, noes 16. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 258, a bill relating to substantial risk orders, substantial risk factors, and considerations. We have a committee amendment to agree to.
Chair recognizes Senator Sorovell, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. Having voted on the prevailing side by which we engrossed Senate Bill 258, I'd move that we reconsider that vote and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen, the Senate, it came to the clerk's attention that I guess we missed one of the committee amendments yesterday. We only engrossed amendments 2 through 4. We missed number 1, so we need to rewind this really quick to adopt the full committee amendments to get it back in proper shape for passage. So that's what this motion's about. Series of motions.
The question is, shall the vote by which Senate Bill 258 was engrossed in advance to its third reading be reconsidered? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The vote is reconsidered. Senator Sorovell.
Thank you, Madam President. I would move committee amendment number 1.
The question is, shall committee amendment number 1 be agreed to? Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The amendment is agreed to. Senator Sorovell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the bill be engrossed in advance to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill now be engrossed in advance to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed in advance to its third reading. Senator Sorovell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we suspend the rules and dispense with the third constitutional reading.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the third constitutional reading be dispensed with? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The rules are indeed suspended, and the constitutional reading is dispensed with. Senator Surville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd move Senate Bill 258 pass. And speaking to that motion.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. So, Senate Bill 258, ladies and gentlemen, has to do with substantial risk orders. You might remember this bill because it's really close, about 90%, 95% to what you saw last year with one little change. And I know we got a lot of new people here, so I'm going to explain it. So we passed the red flag order law back in 2020. Since that time, we now have red flag laws in about 21 states in America. There were 2 more that adopted them last year. Florida's used it probably nearly 3,000 times now. In Virginia, about 87. You've seen it about 87 law enforcement agencies that have used it, and that's some overlap in counties because some counties have both the sheriff and the police have used it. But in Virginia, we're now up to about 1,100 times it's been used since we put this law on the books to keep firearms out of the hands of people who are at risk of being violent to themselves or to our community. It's been a very successful tool. Fairfax County, we've seen 367 orders issued. That's the #1 county in the state. Number 2, City of Hampton, it's at 134. Number 3 is Virginia Beach, predictably, because that's the second largest jurisdiction in our state. Interestingly, number 4 is Hanover. Hanover County has been is number 4 of all 87 counties using it. Number 5 is Prince William. Number 10 surprised me. It's actually York County. I don't know if our new senator from York had something to do with that, but it seems like York County's been using that law a lot compared to other jurisdictions in our state. Colonial Heights is number 12, Dinwiddie number 14. I see the senator representing that area left for a moment, but I just want to note that it's being used all throughout our state, but in varying degrees. There's some counties that are just not using it at all. Henrico only 7 times. Chesterfield only 7 times. Henrico 3, Fauquier 0. We need to use it more. And part of the reason we're not using it more, I think, is because the law is a little confusing. This is also, I want to point out, red flag policy. I'm hoping we don't have a partisan vote on this. Red flag laws have been supported on a bipartisan basis nationally. Former President Trump talked about it a lot as an idea that he supported. The federal government adopted the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act a couple years ago, carried by Marco Rubio. There were some progressive luminaries that voted yes for that, including Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, Joni Ernst, John Cornyn, Roy Blunt, Richard Burr, and Marsha Blackburn. And that law provided grant money to our states, including about $7 million that's sitting there available to Virginia that nobody seems to want to bring down to use to promote red flag laws in our state. And hopefully our budget will fix that when we announce our budget here in a couple weeks. But polling shows the red flag laws are supported by 85% of the public, including 78% of gun owners. So what this bill does is 2 things. Number 1, it just makes clear the types of factors that a court can consider in evaluating a red flag order, because there seems to be some confusion about when it should be used. So if you look at the bill, right at the beginning, line 22 through line 46, it talks about how if somebody wants to seek one, they look at whether the person has committed any acts of violence or criminal offenses resulting in injuries. They've made any threats of physical force, whether they've had a protective order issued, whether the person was convicted of an offense that would prohibit them from owning a fire or possessing a firearm. And then there's other factors that the court may look at, such as whether the person has had any reports of unlawful or reckless use of a gun, made any threats of violence, any prior arrests for acts of violence against people or animals, because that is actually correlated with acts of violence against humans. Anyways, there's a whole series of factors the court's to look at, just so it's clear what this law applies to. The other thing it does, which is new, which is the part you haven't seen this year, is it also allows the Commonwealth Attorney and the police department, who has to investigate these before the orders are issued, to look at whether or not the person not only possesses a gun, or whether the person has the ability to readily access a firearm in their home. And the reason that's important is because we all know from the news that often when these mass shootings happen, it's not because the person owned a gun or owns a gun, it's because they have a gun available to them in their house. We also know that often when somebody commits suicide and kills themselves, which, by the way, red flag orders apply to, it often happens because they have a gun in the house that's available to them that they can access. And so, for example, if a parent is concerned that their child might want to hurt themselves or harm themselves, they want to get that red flag order, one of the factors the court can look at is whether the child has the gun or their family member has it available to them. And now that we're going to have a 5-day waiting period as of yesterday, which I'm sure the governor will sign, that red flag order could actually stop a suicide. Coupled, this law plus the 5-day order could actually help prevent a lot of suicides, which, by the way, is probably the #1 cause of firearm death is suicide. So, Madam President, I would hope, having said all that, having noted all the bipartisan support at the federal level for red flag orders and the money that the Trump administration made available pursuant to the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, I would hope we could adopt this bill on a bipartisan basis.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 18.
Ayes 21, noes 18. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 388, a bill relating to Virginia Consumer Protection Act, prohibited practices, mandatory fees disclosure.
Chair recognizes Senator Pekarsky, the senator from Western Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the bill pass and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Colleagues, SB 388 is a bill that mandates that all fees associated with a transaction must be prominently displayed and reflected in the total price of such transaction. This is a consumer protection bill. Across industries and products, consumers are paying billions of dollars each year in unnecessary, unavoidable, or surprise charges that inflate prices while adding little to no value. You may know them as junk fees. These are the fees that get added to your cart at checkout when you book a rental car, buy a ticket to a Taylor Swift concert, or try to upgrade your phone. This bill simply requires a disclosure of all mandatory fees and charges included in the advertised and displayed price of any good or service. This would create a clear, upfront picture of that total cost and would disincentivize the use of hidden fees to take advantage of hardworking Virginians. Junk fees are a heavy burden on Virginia consumers and disproportionately affect low-income households and people of color. Junk fees not only increase prices to Virginia consumers, but they also distort competition. Companies who attempt to be fair and transparent with their prices may seem more expensive than rivals, and will lose market share. In conclusion, I urge you to support this bill to require all fees be displayed and reflected in the total price to ensure fairness and transparency by protecting consumers and protecting our local small businesses from market manipulation and evening the playing field for all of them.
Chair recognizes Senator Peake, the senator from Lynchburg.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I rise to see if the patron will rise for a question.
Will Senator Pekarsky yield for a question?
I yield.
The senator yields. Senator Peake has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Senator, this comes under the Consumer Protection Act, is that correct?
Correct.
Senator Pekarsky has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I would say that is correct to the senator.
A follow-up question.
Will the senator yield for a follow-up question?
I'll yield.
Senator Pekarsky yields. Senator Peake has the floor.
Does a violation of this proposed code then allow for the recovery of attorney's fees, and are there double or treble damages associated with that recovery or violation?
Senator Pekarsky has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. So I will say about the violation, there is a private right of action in this code section, and it does allow a consumer to bring a case against an industry or business that they believe has violated the Virginia Consumer Protection Act if they're regulated by such. However, there is another code section, 59.1-207, that outlines what happens when unintentional violations, which are outlined in the code, that None of these private right of action pieces affect any industry that has any explicit federal preemptions, and consumers cannot bring these violations against such industries. So that is what the code says in regards to violations. I don't know if that...
The senator has taken his seat.
Thank you.
Senator from King George, Senator Stewart.
Thank you, Madam President. Would the senator yield for another question?
Will Senator Pekarsky yield for question?
I'll yield.
The senator yields. Senator Stewart has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. As I read the bill, and I was not on the committee that heard this, but as I read it, the way the bill reads, if you're advertising something for sale, you have to advertise the entire price. Is that accurate?
Senator Pekarsky has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I would answer the senator that in this bill, we have actually talked about what happens in a brick and mortar store if they are advertising in their window that there is a sale. They are covered. They are okay as long as when you go to purchase the item, they disclose the fees at that point. And we have also added language in here that if the total price goes down on lines 227, you can reduce the total price that was advertised or displayed or offered, and that would not be a violation of this update.
Would the senator yield for another question?
Will Senator Pekarsky yield for another question?
I yield.
The senator yields. Senator Stewart has the floor.
So just trying to help me with this in a practical, real-world situation, if Domino's Pizza, I don't know, offered a 50% off coupon or a 20% off coupon, and you wanted to use that coupon and you ordered a pizza, pepperoni and mushrooms or whatever you like on it, would that not mean when you went to the Domino's Pizza, they would have to tell you the price of all the pizzas in order for you to utilize your coupon without them violating the law?
Senator Pekarsky.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't know if I'm understanding that question, but I would just say that if Domino's Pizza gave you a coupon, the price would go down from whatever their advertised prices would be. So I don't believe that would be a violation of this code. And they would still have to tell you what the price of that pizza would be when you go to purchase it.
And I thank the senator, Madam President, and I think this is a really good bill. Speaking to the bill,
the senator has the floor.
It'd be a really good bill for a hotel, for an Airbnb, for things like that, where they stick all these hidden fees on people. But as I read this language, it says advertising, displaying, or offering any pricing information for goods or services without prominently displaying the total price, which shall include all mandatory fees or charges other than taxes imposed. To me, that means if someone offers you a discount coupon and they don't explicitly tell you, and I use pizza because it's something we do every day, they've got 100 different kinds of pizzas or combinations, they've essentially got to tell you what the price is for every one of those and every combination in order for you to take advantage of that coupon without them violating the law. And the problem is lawyers. Lawyers are the problem here. I'm sorry. But the Consumer Protection Act, which is a really good act for protecting consumers, allows for the recovery of attorney's fees and treble damages. And so, you know, I don't know that we're going to be suing over pizzas, but what if you had 100 of those causes and a lawyer decided to pursue those under the senator from Fairfax's class action bill that's coming through here? And so while I don't want to injure the senator's bill, I just point this out while it would be very good, and I think other states have done this, to get at Airbnbs and hotels and places like that that stick in all these hidden fees that they hit you with up front, I just wonder if we need to take a practical look at the way we're doing sort of everyday business with small items that could impact people and those small businesses.
Madam President.
There is another senator to speak. Chair recognizes Senator Sturdivant, the senator from Colonial Heights.
Thank you, Madam President. Rise to speak in support of the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I think every one of us in here hates these junk fees, these hidden fees that we see more and more of in various and sundry transactions that we all engage in. It's a dishonest practice. I think all of us, myself included, remember growing up and you subscribe to the 1 CD a month and you think you're only going to get maybe 1 CD and you end up getting a lot. So this is a consumer protection bill. It's a smart piece of legislation, and I think all of us know that there are plenty of lobbying groups down here looking out for private interests, and if they had a problem with a bill like this, presumably we would have heard from them. And at least speaking for myself, we haven't heard from any of them. And so I plan to support this bill and hope my colleagues will as well.
Chair again recognizes Senator Pekarski, the senator from Western Fairfax.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Not to belabor the point, but I would say in regards to the conversation around pizza, this is about mandatory fees. I don't know that mushrooms or, olives are a mandatory fee, but there are provisions, as I said, that if you use a coupon, it is not a violation for the price to go down. There is also within the code, section 59.1-207, unintentional violations protection, so that businesses that are operating in good faith are not in any way hurt by this. I believe most businesses operate in good faith. They are transparent with their prices up front, but not everyone does. And at the end of the day, as I said, this is a good consumer protection bill, and it is about leveling the playing field for those that do abide by good business practices. So I hope my colleagues will support this bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 28, noes 11.
Ayes 28, noes 11. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 443, a bill relating to public schools, transfer and management of scholastic records, disclosure of information in court notices, transfer of disciplinary records requirements.
Chair recognizes Senator Durant, the senator from Stafford.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to speak to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Okay, Madam President, this bill came to me at the request of
In what way does the senator wish to speak to the bill? Passage?
Passage of the bill, sorry. Thank you, Madam
The senator has the floor.
Yes. Move for passage of the bill and speaking to the bill. Thank you. This bill came at the request of a school district who are seeking to ensure that records that are transferred from that follow a student from one school district to another in order to ensure that that student continues to receive consistency in services. So I ask that it may be with the will of the body that we pass the bill. Thank you.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 32, noes 7.
Ayes 32, noes 7. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 716, a bill relating to Board of Medicine unprofessional conduct.
Chair recognizes the senator from Eastern Prince William, Senator Carol Foy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we pass the bill and speaking to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Bill 716 is about protecting Virginia health professionals, providing legal care to patients in the Commonwealth, and I hope it's the will of the body to pass the bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 23, no 16.
Ayes 23, no 16. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 734, a bill relating to the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, electronic meetings.
Chair recognizes Senator Marsden, the senior senator from Fairfax.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the bill pass. And speaking to that.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This bill makes several tweaks to our virtual meetings law in Virginia, and it doesn't affect the kind of meetings that we go to where there's official voting and what have you. It's for groups like the ARC of Northern Virginia, for instance, or the Aging Network, or some regional boards. But first, it clarifies that during a video meeting of a public body, a member must be on camera and have functional audio in order to be considered present and count towards a quorum. Second, it requires the body to vote on their virtual meeting policy at least annually so that the public knows exactly what's going on with regards to virtual access. Third, the bill expands the flexibility for advisory boards made up of volunteers and regional bodies to hold all virtual meetings from a cap of 25% to a cap of 50% of the time, while retaining significant guardrails to ensure public access and transparency. It's those tweaks that the bill makes, and I reiterate my motion that the bill pass.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 35, noes 4.
Ayes 35, noes 4. The bill passes.
Uncontested calendar.
Madam President.
For what purpose does the senator from Orange rise?
Before we go to the next block, having voted on the prevailing side in which Senate Bill 716 passed, I ask we reconsider that vote.
The question is, shall the vote by which Senate Bill 716 on page 13 passed be reconsidered? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The bill is reconsidered. Senator Carol Foy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we pass the bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 18.
Ayes 21, noes 18. The bill passes.
Uncontested calendar. Senate bills on second reading.
Chair recognizes Senator Surville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that all the Senate bills on second reading on the uncontested calendar on pages 14 through 17, Senate Bills 59 to 732, be advanced to their engrossment in third reading in the block after the adoption of any amendments thereto. Any senator desiring to remove a bill from the block shall do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill.
The question is, shall all Senate bills on second reading on the uncontested calendar on pages 14 through 17, Senate Bills 59 through 732, be engrossed and advanced to their third reading in the block after the adoption of any amendments thereto, with the understanding that any senator desiring a bill to be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are before us in a block. The clerk will read the number of the bills.
Senate Bill 59, reported from the Committee on Rules. Senate Bill 226, reported from the Committee on Rules. Senate Bill 261, reported from the Committee on Transportation with amendments.
Chair recognizes Senator DeSteff, the senior senator from Virginia Beach.
Madam President, I move the committee amendments.
The question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee amendments are agreed to.
Senate Bill 402, reported from the Committee on Rules. Senate Bill 615, reported from the Committee on Rules with a substitute.
Chair recognizes the senator from Charlottesville, Senator Deeds.
Madam President, could that bill come out of the block and go by for the day, please?
Without objection, Senate Bill 615 is out of the block and by for the day.
Senate Bill 683, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services. Senate Bill 724, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services. Senate Bill 732, reported from the Committee on Transportation with amendments.
Chair recognizes Senator Pillion, the senator from Washington.
Madam President, I move the committee amendments be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee amendments are agreed to. The question is, shall the Senate bills be engrossed in advance to their third reading? That is all bills except for Senate Bill 615 on page 15. Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bills are engrossed in advance to their third reading. Senator Sorovell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that all the Senate bills now on third reading on the uncontested calendar, pages 14 through 17, Senate Bills 59 to 732, that the rules be suspended and the third constitutional readings of the titles be dispensed with. And speaking to that motion, please.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we talked about yesterday. We're going to move all the Senate bills from second read uncontested to third. It says the first day we're doing it. Just want to make sure everybody knew what we were doing. This is a recorded vote.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the third reading of the titles of the bills be dispensed with? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The reading of the titles is dispensed with. The bills are now before the Senate on final passage. Senator Sorovell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that all the Senate bills now on third reading uncontested calendar, pages 14 through 17, Senate Bills 59 to 732, be placed upon their final passage in the block. Any senator desiring to remove a bill from the block shall do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill.
The question is, shall the Senate bills on the uncontested calendar, third reading, pages 14 through 17, Senate Bills 59 through 732, be placed upon their final passage in the block, with the understanding that any senator desiring a bill to be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill? All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are before us in the block. The clerk will now read the number of the bills.
Senate Bill 59, Senate Bill 226, Senate Bill 261, Senate Bill 402, Senate Bill 683, Senate Bill 724, Senate Bill 732.
The question is, shall the bills in the block pass? All in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The bills in the block pass.
Regular calendar, Senate bills on second reading. Senate Bill 66, a bill relating to towing without consent of vehicle owner fee, reported from the Committee on Transportation with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Peake, the senator from Lynchburg.
Yes, Madam President, I move the committee substitute, please.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator Peake.
I now move that the bill be engrossed in advance to its third constitutional reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed in advance to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed in advance to its third reading.
Senate Bill 246, a bill relating to limited duration licenses and driver privilege cards and permits expiration, reported from the Committee on Transportation with a substitute.
Chair recognizes the senior senator from Prince William, Senator McPike.
Thank you, Madam President. Move the substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator McPike.
Thank you, Madam President. Move the bill be engrossed in advance to its third read.
Question is, shall the bill be engrossed in advance to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed in advance to its third reading.
Senate Bill 391, a bill relating to employee protections, medicinal use of cannabis oil, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services with a substitute, and we have a floor substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Pekarsky, the senator from Western Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. Actually, at the request of a member, I ask that we pass this bill by for the day.
Without objection, Senate Bill 391 goes by for the day.
Senate Bill 449, a bill relating to juvenile parole, juvenile correctional centers, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services.
Chair recognizes the senior senator from Fairfax County, Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 569, a bill to direct the State Board of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services to amend regulations to allow the use of seclusion in crisis receiving centers and crisis stabilization units. Work group report. Reported from the Committee on Rules with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Deeds, the senator from Charlottesville.
Madam President, I move that the substitute be agreed to.
Question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator Deeds.
Madam President, I move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Question is, shall the bill now be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 626, a bill relating to barrier crimes, adult substance abuse, and mental health services exception, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services.
Chair recognizes Senator Pillion, the senator from Washington.
Madam President, I move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on first reading.
Chair recognizes Senator Surville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that all the Senate bills on first reading on the uncontested and regular calendars, pages 19 through 22, Senate Bills 138 to 549, the rules be suspended and the first constitutional reading of the titles be dispensed with.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the first constitutional reading of the titles of the Senate bills on the uncontested and regular calendars, pages 19 through 22, Senate Bills 138 through 549 be dispensed with? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? If all the senators voted, does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The reading of the titles is dispensed with. Senator Surville.
I move that all the bills on first reading be passed by for the day.
Question is, shall the Senate bills on the uncontested and regular calendars now on their second reading go by for the day? Those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bills will go by for the day.
Uncontested calendar, Senate joint resolutions on third reading.
Chair again recognizes Senator Surville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the Senate joint resolutions on third reading uncontested calendar, pages 22 to 24, Senate joint resolution 31 to 64, be placed on their final passage in a block. Any senator desiring to remove the resolution from the block, please do so after the clerk has read the number of the resolution.
The question is, shall the Senate joint resolutions on the uncontested calendar, third reading, pages 22 through 24, Senate Joint Resolutions 31 through 64, be placed upon their final passage in the block with the understanding that any senator desiring a resolution to be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the resolution. Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are before us in the block, the resolutions, and the clerk will now read the number of the resolutions.
SJR 31.
Madam President, can that bill come out of the block, please?
Without objection, Senate Joint Resolution 31 is out of the block.
SJR 32, SJR 33, SJR 34, SJR 36, SJR 64.
The question is, shall the resolutions in the block be agreed to? That is, all resolutions except for Senate Joint Resolution 31 on page 22. All in favor of agreeing to the resolutions will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The resolutions in the block are agreed to.
Senate Joint Resolution 31.
Chair recognizes Senator Rouse.
Actually, do you want to call on Senator Hilliard and Senator Williams?
I move.
The senator may continue.
Madam President, I move passage of the resolution.
Chair recognizes Senator Pillion, the senator from Washington.
Madam President, I'm abstaining pursuant to Rule 36 on lines 143 and 144, but voting on the Senate Joint Resolution 31 as a whole.
Chair recognizes Senator Williams Graves, the senator from Norfolk.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I am abstaining pursuant to Rule 36 on lines 217 to 218, but voting on Senate Joint Resolution 31 as a whole.
The question is, shall Senate Joint Resolution 31 pass? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 34, no 0.
Ayes 34, no 0. Senate Joint Resolution 31 passes.
Uncontested calendar, Senate Joint Resolutions on second reading.
Chair again recognizes Senator Somerville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Madam President, I move that all the Senate joint resolutions on second reading on the uncontested calendar on pages 25, SJR 12 through 61 be advanced to their engrossment and third reading in the block after the adoption of any amendments thereto. Any senator desiring to move a bill from the block shall do so after the clerk reads the number of the resolution.
The question is, shall all Senate joint resolutions on second reading on the uncontested calendar on page 25, Senate Joint Resolution 12 through 61, be engrossed and advanced to their third reading in the block after the adoption of the amendments thereto, and that any senator desiring a resolution to be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the resolution. All those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The clerk will read the number of the resolutions.
SJR 12, reported from the Committee on Rules with amendment.
Chair recognizes Senator Reeves, the senator from Orange.
Madam President, I move the committee amendment be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee amendment is agreed to.
SJR 46, reported from the Committee on Rules. SJR 48, reported from the Committee on Rules. SJR 61, reported from the Committee on Rules, and we have a floor substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Perry, the junior senator from Loudoun.
Yes, Madam President, I move that the reading of the floor sub be waived.
The question is, shall the reading of the floor substitute be waived? Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The reading of the floor substitute is waived. Senator Perry.
Yes, Madam President, I move that the floor substitute be agreed to in speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
This is a resolution that recognizes May as Progressive Supernuclear Policy Month. And this is just an amendment or substitute that fixes some of the language in the bill and is with the concurrence of Congresswoman Wexton.
The question is, shall the floor substitute be agreed to? Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The floor substitute is agreed to. The question is, shall the Senate joint resolutions be engrossed in advance to their third reading? Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The joint resolutions are agreed to, and they're engrossed in advance to their third reading. Chair recognizes Senator Saravel.
Inquiry of the clerk. Does that complete today's calendar?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Is there any other business to come before the Senate? Chair recognizes Senator Subramaniam, the senior senator from Loudoun.
Madam Speaker, Madam President, Madam President, I rise for a point of personal privilege.
For the record, Senator, I accept that title. The senator may continue.
Madam President, yesterday we spoke a little bit about the Grammys, but one thing that was not mentioned that our pages wanted us to know was that Taylor Swift actually released her new album, or is going to release her new album. She announced it. It's called Tortured Poets Department. Did I get that right? And apparently it comes out in April, and some of the tracks have also been released as well, and including But Daddy, I Love Him, Florida with 3 exclamation points, and Fresh Out of the Slammer. And so I just wanted to let you know, Madam President, that our pages, if you like to start a Swiftie caucus, there'll be the opportunity to do so. Just come find the pages after we're done. Thank you, Madam President.
Chair recognizes Senator Deeds, the senator from Charlottesville.
I just rise for an announcement, Madam
The
President.
senator has the floor.
Madam President, the Committee on Commerce and Labor went till after 7 o'clock last night. We still have well after 7. 8 qualifies as 7, as well after 7. One correction from last night. We have 14 bills left. Instead of meeting on Monday, we're going to meet on Friday morning at 8 o'clock. And I'd ask you if you have drafts for substitutes to get those to Division of Legislative Services by close of business Wednesday so they can be ready for us on Friday morning. And we've got those 14 bills. At least one of the bills is going to go over for the year. I'd invite others to think about a similar path if you wish. But I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Rouse.
Madam President, I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The senator has the floor.
In honor of Black History Month, Psalms 121, verse 1. I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Southern trees bear a strange fruit. Blood on the leaves and blood at the root. Black bodies swinging in the southern trees. Strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. The first time I heard this song by Billie Holiday and later Nina Simone, it made me cry. Today, black bodies in the streets. Chalk outlines and blood on the concrete. And still today, the silent tears reverberate from within. I lift up my eyes to the streetlights, asking, where does our help come from? I've been to too many funerals before I was even 21, where young black boys and girls were laying in a casket. 17 years old, 18 years old, 18, 23, 20 years old, 19 years old, and the first funeral I attended was my cousin, who was 15 years old, who died from an asthma attack on the basketball court. Many times I cried, and in that same moment, I was relieved that it wasn't me laying in that casket, only to leave the funeral home with fears and thoughts about surviving, and what was waiting for me around the corner, where my nightmares embraced me and my dreams were drowned out by the hopelessness of a people overlooked and undervalued. You see, I lift up my eyes to that one-story school building, and I ask, where does my help come from? The dedicated teachers and community leaders that instilled a sense of purpose within me. A collective history of one's culture has an unfathomable impact and energy to carry one through the valley of the shadow of death. You see, enslaved people from Africa were a people with a rich culture and history that predated American chattel history, American chattel slavery. That the Civil War was fought over the issue of an enslavement of people, African people. That Black Americans, through Reconstruction, that provided a glimpse of hope only to be snatched back from the grasp of a hungry people, hungry for justice and equality. That civil rights and voting rights were earned through blood, sweat, and tears, along with hope, faith, and perseverance. You see, I wonder how our ancestors today would react to our current disposition. 32 members strong in the Virginia Legislative Black Caucus. The first African-American woman pro temp and chair of finance. The first African-American woman lieutenant governor. The first Black speaker of the House, and much more to be excited and proud about. But I also wonder about how our ancestors would respond to our current disposition on our demographics within our prisons. At year end of 2022, 32% of persons sentenced to state or federal prison were Black. And according to the latest data from the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances, the nation's racial wealth gap increased during the COVID-19 pandemic. Between 2019 and 2022, median wealth increased by $51,800, but the racial wealth gap increased by $49,950, adding up to a total difference of $240,120 in wealth between the median white household and the median Black household. So I lift up my eyes and I wonder, where does our help come from? You see, Black American stories are powerful. It's a story that is still being written today, and in its current chapter illustrates how powerfully determined and persevering we have to be in order to be where we are. Senator Locke, even when the goalposts are moved, we do it with grace. 2 Corinthians 4:16-18, therefore we do not lose heart. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. For our life and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes on what is seen, but not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary and what is unseen is eternal. So in closing, do not shy away from our Black American history. Embrace it. Embrace it with strength. Embrace it with pride. Embrace it with boldness and creativity. Embrace it with love and passion. Embrace our humanity. Thank you.
The clerk will read any announcements on the desk.
Today, Tuesday, February 6, 2024, the Committee on Rules will meet immediately upon adjournment at the chair's desk in order to re-refer a bill. Again, the Committee on Rules will meet immediately upon adjournment at the chair's desk. The Committee on Privileges and Elections will meet 15 minutes after adjournment in Senate Room B, GAB. The Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources will meet 30 minutes after adjournment in Senate Room A, GAB. The Finance and Appropriations Subcommittee on Education will not meet. Again, the Finance and Appropriations Subcommittee on Education will not meet. The Finance and Appropriations Subcommittee on Resources will meet at 3:30 p.m. in the Senate Finance and Appropriations Room, 13th floor, GAB. Senators Lucas, Deeds, Locke, and McDougall. The Education and Health Subcommittee on Health will meet at 4:00 p.m. in Senate Room C, GAB. Senators Favola, Suderline, Bagby, Aird, and Durant. Tomorrow, Wednesday, February 7th, 2024, the Finance and Appropriations Subcommittee on Public Safety and Claims will meet at 7:30 a.m. in the Senate Finance and Appropriations Room, 13th floor, GAB. Senators Eben, Lucas, Marsden, McDougal, Pillion, and Hashmi. The Women's Legislative Roundtable will meet at 8:30 a.m. in House North Meeting Room, room 700B, 7th floor, GAB. The Committee on Finance and Appropriations will meet at 9 o'clock a.m. in Senate Room A, GAB. The Republican Caucus will meet at 11:15 a.m. in Senate Room 2 in the Capitol. The Democratic Caucus will meet at 11:30 a.m. in Senate Room 1 in the Capitol. And a message from the clerk, there are 8 shopping days left.
Chair recognizes Senator Surreville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to let everybody know. Sorry, I have an announcement.
The senator has the floor.
I just want to let everybody know that the Courts of Justice Committee has about, I think, 25 bills in the docket for tomorrow. We're going to have a Monday docket in light of the agreement to waive reads, and that's going to be about 17 bills. There's no rhyme or reason or magic to it. We had to get the finance bills out. But I just wanted to let everybody know there's no mischief involved in that. So plan on a meeting on Monday morning, and you'll see those bills Monday morning on first, second, and third read. Probably, my guess is Tuesday. But they shouldn't be too complicated. They're not. They're some of the more simple bills, I think. I just want to make sure everybody knew that.
Chair calls on Senator Lucas, the senator from Portsmouth.
Thank you, Madam President. From Polar Bear Country, I will report. I move that the Senate do now adjourn until 12 noon tomorrow.
The question is, shall the Senate now adjourn until 12 noon tomorrow? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The Senate stands adjourned until 12 noon tomorrow.